Forsyth, going to talk to you about the brief history of electronic music, and today's subject is on the pioneers and the innovators behind it all. First of all, just run through the housekeeping. In the smoking areas out the side there, toilets on either side of this room, the fire exit is up by the door. And in case of a fire, just follow me, but I won't fast. Now to briefly outline the pioneers and the innovators behind music, electronic music. I got the Troy shot here timeline from 1900 up to today, and briefly shows who the people are, what they invented, their sounds, and just to show that the past always influences the future in music especially. First up we have a man named Thaddeus Capel in 1901 in the US. He invented what's known as the Kel harmonium. He basically wanted to play through the phone lines and went it straight into hotels, elevators, restaurants, etc. It weighed 7 tons when it was built because he found that just at the same time the telephone was invented, they had little generators inside the telephones that they needed to have a huge generator just to pump the music down through the phone line. So it weighed 7 tons. It cost $200,000, which was a lot in 1901. And only 3 were ever built, but they were scrapped eventually, and it brought this man down. Because 3 were only built, it was classed as the first type of synthesizer. So it set the foundations for what we're going to see next, which is a man called Leon Theremin. Basically, he built this machine in Russia in 1920. And as you see, he played just by waving our hands over it. There's no touching involved. He built the world's first drum machine as well, and he was an inventor, a Soviet inventor. He also invented the burglar alarm, and he built eavesdropping devices, which they built a wooden seal that the President of the United States gave to school kids to give to the ambassador of the United States in Moscow, and sat in the ambassador's office for the first 7 years of the Cold War. They were listening in. In France, we have a composer, Pierre Schaeffer. Can you hear that? Yeah. But basically what he did was in 1948 he got the sound of the train and put it across several gramophones at the time, just played them at different speeds and recorded it, which set the foundation for what's known as sampling. We'll come back to it later on, but it's basically just taking bits of sounds and just making a new song out of them. Everybody's at it today, so that's why we hang in. Watch this video there first. So basically what in the 1950s the BBC built on what Pierre Schaeffer had done with tape, these added what was known as tone generators. Basically what they did was recorded sound, got little bits of tape, cut them up and just lengthened them out. We'll see in the next video what happens. Well, basically BBC is responsible for what's known the Doctor Who theme. There's a woman called Delia Derbyshire, and she was never credited for her contribution to music. Back in the 50s and 60s, women weren't allowed to run recording studios around that, but the BBC broke that, and as it happens, Delia Derbyshire was refused the job because she was a woman who running the studio. What as it happened it was a woman as well. Daphne Oram left the BBC a year later and became the first woman to own a studio and to set one up, and the first woman to do. Women have a good history in music. We just don't get credit for it. This is Delia Derbyshire here explaining.
We can go and record it. The sound I'm up to rhythm of this piece is a very short go ahead of sound I could get from this. Then sound of punctuating chords, and at the sound of a short straight string being plucked.
Basically, she's just found what you do with all these sounds.
What you have to do is cut the notes the right length and join them together on a loop. And then with the higher notes of the rhythm, again.
This is all built out of these two sounds are just after saying in recording.
And over this we can play the sound of the flat string, which can be either in form of music or in the form of a band.
So basically all that came from two sounds, which is a bit of DJing as well. But DJing is about getting all the synchronization, so it's doing well there. We're going to jump back into the 60s, back to the United States, and a man called Bob Milk. He started life by building pyramids that you've seen. He was putting his hands around, and he also finished by building pyramids with two different companies. As you can see, he built the first synthesizers that had keyboards. A lot of synthesizers at the time were the size of rooms, where you needed to plug things in, and there was no keyboard involved with it. He actually was responsible, the woman we were just watching there, and the same group that worked in the BBC actually left because of the synthesizers. They refused to use them because they thought it wasn't making music. Back to France. One of the first really synthesizer albums that was made. This guy, Jean-Michel Jarre, was a student of Pierre Schaeffer, who we were seeing making the tape out of the sound of the train. We're going to go to Germany now. That noise there is just a man singing into what's known as vocoder. Just changes our voice into a robotic sound. Their whole they inspired the generations for afterwards, especially throughout the 80s. And their get-up was they were robots. They were around in the 70s. Their get-up was that they were robots. They even invented their own instruments because they weren't around at the time. Then into the 70s, or certainly the 80s, after this we're just going to have a brief name that tune. So, but basically, this is now where synthesizers are. They're just small, portable. And this is what a drum machine looks like in the 80s. And all this synth pop, it's called, exploded, where sounds and music were just made through equipment like this. And the home computers were just coming in at this stage. So now we're going to have a quick name that tune so everybody be quick.
Sweet dreams.
But you can see all of those songs were made using synthesizers and drum machines. People say the 80s were crap, but I don't know. It led on to especially in the late 80s, it led on to when what was known we know now as dance music. This is going back to the United States now. What you're listening to now is one of the first techno songs. These three guys here were inventors of techno. The name of the song is Streams of Life. They were known as the first wave of techno. Back in 2005 we got to play with this guy here, which was pretty cool. But then back into here now is the changeover between what we just were listening to. And basically, this man here is credited for what's known as the second wave of techno. This man here was working on a radio station at the time when these three lads in the studio beforehand were just making their music. He gave them their first airplay. Jeff Mills, his name is. Now we'll go to the late 80s again in the UK, a band called Owen. And they have a very distinct sound, as you can hear. What we're listening to is a song called Shine. In 2000 they released a version of the Doctor Who theme with that one girl just saying Delia there, we sure hated it, and she hated every other version except her own, which is fair enough. So what we're going to see now is the whole theme come full circle. We got to Glastonbury in 2004. This is our on the headline stage on this Saturday night. And Dr. Who obviously, well, that's 40 or 50 years now of electronic music coming back to the main stage of Glastonbury. And we got this was just the show in the 90s in England as well. You had three big groups coming along, the Chemical Brothers, Prodigy, and what we're listening to was Born Sleepy by Underworld. Maybe a good memory of that. Now back to present day, very clear with music. This called Ableton Live, pretty good software application. Basically now with the birth of the MP3 and USB means that everybody on the planet is at the same, for the first time is at the same stage where this is where the great talent is going to start going through, as we are saying, from 1900 all the way, from a 7-ton machine now to a laptop contains a studio. So everybody is at the same position. So, that's some ideas. Questions?
Rave music, is that how would you describe rave music? Is that what that is?
Well, rave music is a kind of catch-all for everything. With techno, there's techno, house, drum and bass, trance. You can stand here and name them all day. Rave is a catch-all for it. Rave is actually gone back to the late 80s, early 90s with what was called acid house. So I think rave is just kind of a slang word for everything.
Another way. Do you have to take drugs to appreciate it?
No, but it helps. No. Particularly, you know.